good?
We're good.
So when was the last time you were in a bus like this, Saxe?
I haven't been in one that moved since I was in Ottawa in 1977.
So that means that was a year. That was a year after this was made.
Yeah, perfect.
You found Oakville okay?
I did. It's still where it was the last time I was here.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, your store has been re-merchandised and it's so full of fun stuff. I want to spend some time in there when we're done.
Interesting exercise being a retailer. I don't know if we can really call ourselves a retailer, but we sell things.
It's more than a laboratory. You sell things.
But you started in retail.
I did.
You've got history with Babe Lure.
I did. I started before then. It was part-time when I was at Carleton University. I was still doing custom installations in Montreal for my clients there. At age 16, I managed to skip a couple of years. So at age 16, I went to Ottawa and went to Carleton.
You, when you met Dr. Floyd Toole?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
He certainly had a profound effect on the way I thought. I mean, I was already fascinated by transducers because, a loudspeaker it fascinated me that you've got you're transforming one form of energy into another and then doing it again. In other words, you're taking an electrical signal, turning it into a mechanical motion, and then turning the mechanical motion into acoustic energy. So there are those two transitions that are happening in a transducer that are so utterly fascinating because so many things can go wrong.
And you're a young kid. It's such a beautiful day. Why don't we go and sit outside while we still can?
Sounds good to me.
It's fabulous weather.
No kidding.
Saxe, welcome to Oakville. Thanks for making the trip out.
Hey, well, this is better than any fireside chat. This is a lakeside chat. I trust you to have us right by the water where I'm totally happy.
I would have loved to have dragged the crew up to Prince Edward County, and instead of sitting in a beautiful park on a gorgeous day, we could be sitting in a wine cellar. Wine's been a passion.
Yeah.
A funny place to start our chat, but
Sure.
Wine has been a passion for a very long time.
Yeah. Can't give my parents any credit for that. They had the worst swill imaginable on the table when I was growing up.
Black Tower?
At Black Tower, Leap from Milch. They were cocktail people. They were that generation. So I didn't think I liked wine. And then I went on a school trip and ended up in Paris. Managed to convince my parents to let me stay 2 weeks after the rest of the school group went back on my own dime because I'd made some money selling audio.
Yeah. How old are you?
14.
14 years
14.
old. So 14, you've been to Paris. Would you say that that's the year you call as the starting point for your career in consumer tech?
The starting point was I was the kid that bought all the magazines at age 11 or 12. I just loved music, and I didn't like it, sounding not musical.
So you've seen many decades in this business of ours. Is there a time where the industry was the most fun?
It was, in a sense, like the conversation we had in the Volkswagen bus coming down here. It's a bit analogous to my just going to British car day and looking at 1,100 British cars and looking under the hood. These are vintage sports cars, and going, well, I could work on that. I could set valve top clearances, no problem. I could tune the carbs, no problem. Now you don't look in the back of an amplifier and go, wow, look at that, toroids, that's really interesting. It's more abstract now, and it's more software. It's about the software.
What about just the competitiveness of the industry, the number of brands that are in the industry, the knowledge base of the consumer based on easy access to information through online, social media? It's so different than the 80s.
It used to drive me crazy. I used to do these consumer seminars, originally started by Lauren Howell, how to buy a loudspeaker, and then he taught me some great ways of doing it. We built on that and started charging for tickets, And our objective was to span the gap that you're referring to, the gap between the amount of knowledge needed to make an intelligent buying decision and the amount of knowledge the average consumer actually had. If you look at it from the consumer standpoint, having the internet and having access to all that information has now bridged that gap. But it's interesting to me that what it has done is not so much bridge the gap as it has dumbed it down to people forgetting to listen. They're buying hi-fi components without having listened to them. They're doing it on reviews.
If it gets 5 stars,
Yeah.
then I don't have to listen to it, which
Yeah.
is, for me, very shocking.
Right.
Do you buy things online?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. What was the last thing you bought?
I bought a pair of shoes.
Shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you keep them?
I'm wearing them.
All right. They're beautiful.
They fit. I know, it's quite funny. You caught me on that one. But there again, it's so damn convenient.
Yeah.
So it's
Human
a
nature,
double-edged
I guess.
sword. I mean, I think you have more access to information now, but which is a good thing. But I think the information is just so simplified that people have forgotten to use their ears.
We're living in an always-on environment too.
Mhm.
We've got these things on us all the time.
Yeah.
Has that made business easier?
It's made it easier, but it has made it more stressful
Yeah.
because those boundaries are now gone. There are no boundaries. I think overall, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the evolution of information, access to information. I just think that we weren't taught in school how to cope with it, and maybe we should take a look at that and put it on the curriculum.
I was in Ottawa on Monday and I sat through an MPD seminar. They disclosed that consumer electronics has had 6 months consecutively of negative growth.
I remember 1982.
Okay.
1981, 82, that was tough.
What was worse,
When
82 or 2008? Was it 7 or 8?
Well, that's a tough question
2008.
because I had
You've
a
run
horrible
through them
year.
both.
2008 was a horrible year for Evolution. But I'd have to say that 81, 82 was just too crazy. I mean, interest rates being what they were.
14, 15?
Oh yeah, just
Up.
higher, almost 18. And
Yeah.
so really it was difficult to feel that you had control over your life when those things got away from you. So I'm still pretty grateful for the way we can live today.
Yeah.
Sorry to sound so optimistic, but I really do prefer it now.
You know, it's I'm glad to hear a little optimism. So you've for the first time in almost 4 decades, you're not part of the Evolution brand.
Right.
Has that been weird for you?
That's
Are
the right
you
word. The right
weird?
word. The first day, I woke up without the alarm clock at the usual, 6:50. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
There was that moment. That was weird. The good news is, and I think there's a lesson in it for me. Had I been able to revisit my life and jump back in, or go in the time machine, the lesson I've learned is that I should have taken more time to think when I was the hamster on the wheel. When I think I had too much of a focus on getting more things done.
Yeah. Okay.
And not thinking creatively, not implementing creative ideas. Implementation. I have a lot of good ideas, but it's all about implementation, right?
Execution.
That's
So
I think if I were to revisit myself in 40 years ago, I would be teaching myself that lesson now, and I'm quite sure that I will have some backseat driving ideas to offer. Salrina and the team at Evolution, and in the industry in general. At retail level, I've been spending quite a bit of time with having lunches and stuff that I didn't have time to have before,
Right.
and a whole lot of ideas come to the surface in
Yeah.
that environment, and so hopefully I can.
So
give back.
you're not saying goodbye to this industry.
No.
I don't think you can.
No, I can't.
It's just in your blood.
It is absolutely in my blood.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time. I'm really glad you came out.
Thank you, John.
And,
so am I. Let's have a glass of wine.
Let's go for a glass of wine. Sounds good.